everyone, and good afternoon. My name is Odeth Richardson, and today I am joined by Steve Ford, who is our Chief Exec.
Hi.
Hi, Steve. So, as you know, when I was appointed as Chair of Council, one of my pledges was that I would update members on the work that Council is undertaking on your behalf. And these video blogs are one of the ways of doing that. So this will be our first one. And Steve and I will just have a conversation. We'll reflect on the council meeting, which was my first one. And we'll tell you some of the things that we discussed. And then we'll tell you some of the plans that we have for the future.
Yeah, brilliant. Hi, everybody. Yeah, I mean, Odeth, is it worth kicking off just by reminding people what council is all about?
Okay. So the role of council is a very important role in that our council members are formally responsible for the governance of the organization. So this would include things like ensuring that risk management plans are in place, ensuring that we can deliver on our strategic objectives within the timeframes, ensuring that we work with our senior leadership team to ensure that we have financial accountability and so on. So there's lots of responsibilities that comes with being a council member, but in a sense, it is around governance and governing the organization.
Yeah, and I know that me and my team spend, it's a big thing having a council meeting, and we pull lots of papers together and really make sure that they'll try to make sure the council's got a good strategic overview on all the kind of issues facing us. But this was your first meeting. So how did what were your kind of reflections after that?
Yeah. So my reflections is being the first council meeting, there was a lot of business to discuss, very packed agenda, but it just goes to show the breadth of information, projects, and lots that are going on within the Royal College of OT. Most of it the members are not aware of. And so having an opportunity to meet with council members and go through the business of the organization was really insightful for me. We were joined by a number of people during the day for various elements of the agenda. And I found that having the senior leadership team on hand as well to answer questions from council members was really, really useful. So my reflection was, it was a good day. It was a tiring day because there was lots to get through, but I really enjoyed it, and it gave me a greater appreciation of all the work that's going on at the Royal College of OT.
Yeah, brilliant. And it was, I mean, you're already kind of shaping the agenda, because you did say how you'd made this kind of real pledge to increase member engagement, and at your first meeting, you kind of facilitated a discussion around that kind of member engagement. Yeah, maybe we should just reflect on what came out of that.
Yes, we talked a little bit with our council members around what the membership engagement means to them, and some of the works that's already been going on around this agenda. But we've also reflected on where the gaps are in terms of our membership and how we engage with them. We also identified that there's no one rule that will suit every single member. And so we need to ensure that we cater for all aspects of our membership. So we are pulling together at the moment a paper around membership engagement. There's a lot of work ongoing within our senior leadership team around this agenda. And we'd love to hear from you as members. We know that often there's a few members who use Twitter as their means of communication, but not every single member does that. And so we need to find other ways of engaging with those who are not on Twitter. And we often try to ensure that we have that two-way communication, because again, it's really, really important. So we spent some time discussing that and trying to find a way of improving our engagement with members. And hopefully you'll be able to support us by giving us some tips and some ideas, and also talking to us and telling us how you would want to engage with us. So that's really important.
Yeah, no, I think that's right. And obviously we now have a new director, Karen Bishop. Her role is Director of Membership and Movement Building, and I know she found that conversation really helpful as she kind of develops plans and strategies to increase engagement. I think for me, what came out of it was just helped me to think that there are different levels of this. I mean, at the first level, it's just people joining RCOT, you know, at a sort of superficial level. That is a sense of kind of engagement, isn't it? People deciding to join, and that's fantastic. Then I guess the next level is people making use of services, whether that's accessing the website or the inquiries line or joining a regional group or a specialist section. So it's kind of people using the services. Then I guess there's perhaps a level of people just giving their views, expressing their views. Sometimes that can be challenging, but you know, how fantastic that people are engaging with us and wanting to tell us what they think. And then I guess at the top of that pyramid are those people like our council members who volunteer and you know, really kind of commit to the life of the organisation, and all our volunteers and people who participate in different groups and things. So, you know, I think it's probably something about thinking about all those levels and how we can work on all of those. So, no, that was great to have that kind of focus.
And the other thing to note, Steve, was that we want this engagement to be meaningful to our members. So maybe our idea of engagement is very different to yours, and we need to hear that. So we just need to know what it is that you want from us as a council, as an organization, and hopefully we'll try and deliver that in terms of engagement.
So one of the things that happens at every council meeting is that unison representatives join us because of the important relationship that we have, the BAOT and Unison. So that was interesting, wasn't it?
Yes, we had a lot of conversations with our Unison colleagues about the pay award, the latest pay award that's on the table. And they're asking us to pledge yes for the NHS by voting for industrial action as part of their pledge to safeguard the NHS and to make sure that they get a better deal for our members. So if you do ensure that you have your correct details on our Unison site, please speak to our Unison reps within your organizations and make sure that those details are updated so that when the ballot comes, it will come to the right place and you'll be able to have your vote.
And then I guess our big sort of chunky discussion in the afternoon was all around the future of the RCOT HQ in London.
Yeah, we spent a significant portion of time discussing that, and I'm now going to put Steve on the hot seat to sort of give us a bit of the background to this, and hopefully.
Okay, because it was a big decision and a lot of work over a number of months has gone into this. And I think the first thing to say is the world is changing, isn't it? And you know, the way that everybody is working and meeting is very different than how it was pre-pandemic. And you know, I think what has become increasingly clear is we've got this building in London that actually is significantly underused as an asset of the organisation. You know, a lot of members of staff are working from home for big chunks of the week. And when they want to come into work, it's because they want to meet with people and engage with people, work together on projects. And you know, the way the office is set up with the kind of rows of desks is not really very conducive to that. And obviously, we've got those kind of facilities on the ground floor where in the past members have come together for kind of meetings, education events. But you know, much of that now happens online, and there's been very little demand for that space. So right back at the start of the year, we talked to council about coming up with kind of new plans, how we could maximise the value of our kind of our asset, and also make sure we've got the right kind of working environment. And there was agreement from council at that time to kind of explore the options of looking for some commercial income. So we set up a project, and the project team have been doing a lot of work planning, financially modelling all of the different options, and presented a proposal to council whereby we spend a chunk of money on refurbishing the building and turning it into a more kind of modern working environment. But we rent out the 4 floors of the building, and that we do that with a partner who we think can really help us to maximize the income from that. We turn a big chunk of the ground floor into a flexible working space where colleagues can come together and work, I think, in a much more kind of collaborative way. Just for me, talking to some colleagues this week, we were just making the point that when you're spread over different floors, you just don't meet colleagues on other floors, and it really kind of hinders that kind of joint working. So we create this kind of more modern, flexible space on the ground floor. We work with a company who really help us to kind of, well, to manage the building, to manage the relationships with our tenants. And through this partner, we believe this is quite a premium offer that we can offer, that's really in tune for the need for that more flexible accommodation in London. And it's a real, for me, it's a really win-win situation, because it does mean that we can generate some significant levels of income for the organisation. I've been really kind of conscious that that we need to diversify our income. We're too reliant on our members at the moment and our member fees, and we know how kind of under pressure members feel about that. So creating another income source is really important, and that's what this project does. But also it provides us with a much more kind of flexible workspace that is really fit for the kind of organisation that we want to be, working in the ways that we want to be. So, council really, took us through that and really kind of challenged us, but also some of our partners who came to the meeting as well, the architects and others. And we spent a lot of time on it, but it was great to make a decision to proceed with that. So yeah, I don't know whether you have any reflections on that. Okay.
Yeah, so the decision to proceed was made by council, and it was it took a lot of discussions and assurances, because what we don't want is for members to feel that we've taken this decision and there's no benefit for our members. So we're hoping to maximize the benefits to our members, and by just repurposing and repositioning the space and sort of, as Steve said, diversify our income stream. Ultimately, our members would benefit, because what we don't want to do is to year on year keep increasing our membership fees, because the cost of living crisis is going to be here with us for a little while, and we need to find a way of supporting our membership. So that was some of the considerations that we debated on and we mulled over in order to make that decision. So we know you may have some questions, and so we're here to answer them. So one of the things we discussed as part of our building plans was the new name for the building, and council voted unanimously to call the new building Phoenix House. They were excited by the prospect of having that name, and it's, as you know, we have lots of connections with the Phoenix, and we thought that was a brilliant name for our new building.
Yeah, well, actually, just to make the point that the project manager did a bit of detective work and realised that the whole site that the building is on had been bombed in the war, and so that whole sense of new building out of the ashes of all of that. Yes, we're kind of getting on with the work. Our next council meeting is in January, and we're really hoping that that the work will have been completed by that. So it's kind of all systems go to make that work. So what's on the agenda before our next meeting in January?
So the next opportunity you have to speak to us both is at our branding event, or In Conversation event, that's due to take place on the 12th of October. The details are on the website in terms of how you can join. If you recall, this was one of the issues you asked us to discuss, and we'll provide an opportunity to go through our branding, to tell you about the involvement of our members and our council in the decision making, and it gives you an opportunity to ask questions. We hope you find these updates useful. If you do have any comments or concerns or queries, please contact me at chair@rcot.co.uk. Thank you.
Thank you.